Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Today, I am joined by photographer Kate Naylor. Kate, how you doing today?
Really good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely such an honor to have you here. So for those of you that don't know, you can click the link down here in the descriptions. I got a bunch of her links down here that you guys can check out. In her... Lost you there for a second.
Sorry. No.
It's all good.
This is standard me.
So she started doing photography at the age of 12. Since then, she's worked with the likes of Elise Simmons, Lachlan Bryan, and some of her work has even been featured with Lady Gaga. So that's all pretty fucking exciting, actually. So how did you get into photography, especially at such a young age, like 12?
So I don't know if they have run through or banners in America, but my rugby team, Melbourne Storm, I grew up doing their banners from about, so I started going to the rugby when I was 3, and then I did the banners from like 5 to 15. So basically from a kid to when I could work, and then I just started working. It's a very
awesome.
unnormal upbringing. And my parents were in the music industry.
Oh, and you did some music videos. While we're talking about the music industry, your parents are in the music industry. You did a couple music videos this year, didn't you?
Yeah, so I've got a couple coming out with Greg Gould from about 2019. So we did 3 back-to-back. They haven't been released yet because Greg directed them, and then he's got to edit them. And one's coming out in the new year. I don't know which one because I've done my job. He's doing his job. He finally followed me on Twitter after like 2-3 years. So I was like, I just did a host parody with Jeff and a couple of host bands, and it's called The Zoom Where It Happened, and we got the star Leyland Baxter in it, and I have like 3 parts in it, and I just came on for ideas, and I got a assistant director credit, PR credit, and star credit. And yesterday Gail Godot like tweeted at me, and then Village Cinemas, which is a big cinema in Australia, like used it on their social media. Because when
awesome.
I saw Wonder Woman, somebody had like a panic attack and they had to pause my session, and I got to thank like the people that work there because the little guy never gets any recognition. And yesterday was wild. Honestly,
I'm very proud of you. I'm happy for you. That's really awesome.
I don't even like, it's always happening like when you're doing something big.
Yeah.
Like, it's never ending. But yeah, no, don't mind my tangent.
No, and if you guys want to keep updated on her and all her come-uppings, we have everything down here in the description. Her Twitter, her Instagram, all her social media, her website. So make sure you guys are giving her a follow. She's working her ass off to give us some good content. So make sure you're staying with her. But today we are here to talk about your first horror movie. What got you into horror? And your first horror movie was...
Freddy versus Jason. I know. Like, it's a fun one to talk about, actually, because it's so cheesy. Because it's early 2000s, and there's so much cheese. Like, I love it, because I love cheesy, and we need more cheesy in our life, especially after this year. But, my God.
And movie, it is one of those movies that... Yeah, it's one of those movies that you're always going to be... to me, it's always going to have a special place, because it had Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees in the same movie. So to me, the script could have been anything, but when you have those two together in the same movie, it's always going to be fun. And one of the original pitches for this movie was actually they're trying to please the devil and see who could get the most kills for the devil. And I actually am so glad that they strayed away from that and went to the direction that they went in, because that sounds god awful. So do you remember about how old you were the first time you seen Freddy vs. Jason?
18. Like, I think my grandma just died. So how I got into photography seriously, because I'd been doing it for so long, and then the night before my grandma died, she was like, you should pursue this, because I was working at Red Rooster. I finally just quit Red Rooster after like 8 years. She was like, you should do it. And then I met Elise and Lachlan in May that year, like right after she had died, and they're into country music, and I was at metal gigs before I was into country music,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a completely different world.
Right.
And that's how I fell into it. I don't know. I got really lucky because I have really good mentors. Like the people you surround yourself with is how you define yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And like they always try to me up as soon as I get like egotistical or like don't know my place and like humble me. Most people don't have that. That's why I stray. But God, 18 was like just such a wild year. But no, that was the first one I saw. But I'd seen like thrillers and stuff. But that was the one I remember that gave me a nightmare, and I just could not sleep.
Right. And while we're talking about getting nightmares, that's what I wanted to actually go on. There's a lot of great cinematic scenes in this movie. Which scene affected you the most?
When Freddy is the mum and he convinces Jason, because Jason and his mum, like, because I've seen so many now, and like just Freddy, like, gaslighting him and making him do stuff and then getting himself back. Like, it's just perfect for those two. Like, because if you know the history and you're a film nerd, it like, so
and
good.
that's one of those scenes I think that gets overlooked. But you know, Freddy using Pamela Voorhees as a way to get to Jason is such a brilliant idea. Now, that's the scene that affected you the most. What would you say your favorite scene from this movie is?
Oh God, when they're at the cornfield and like Freddy's just like hi to the guy and like there's so much brilliant cinematography in like film, like in horror films, and there's so many unknowns that are so brilliant, like actors. Like I think for this year, like Hosts is one that's really stood out for me because I got to know all the cast because I watched it first in August. But there's been so many good horrors like that where they have really brilliant actors and then they're always overlooked for awards, but they're not in it for awards.
Right.
And that's why horror's so like welcoming.
Well, and I think that, you know, horror gets overlooked, but horror has easily the best community of all the genres of film. I mean, I've been doing this since May. This is my first year doing Sledgehammer horror, and the amount of people that are just so welcoming and so kind and willing to work with you as long as you're working in the horror genre is so amazing, and it's so much fun to be a part of this. And I agree. One thing I want to talk about with that cornfield scene is when you see Jason, when he gets lit on fire, the guy throws the alcohol on him and he lights him on fire and he just walks through the cornfield while he's on fire. That is I love fire stunts. It's something I think everybody in horror, we love good kills and we love fire stunts. So that was a stunt that I absolutely adored. Just watching him walk through that cornfield on fire was so much fun.
Because he just, are we allowed to swear? Like, I'm not sure.
Of course.
Like,
yes, you can swear.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's just like,
right.
I'm Jason. I'm just gonna like stroll away. Like the world could be on fire. It's like, bye, bitches.
Yes, it's brilliant. I absolutely love that scene. So we're gonna go from your favorite scene to a little bit darker now. What is your favorite kill from the movie? And it doesn't have to be a kill, but what kill from the movie stuck with you the most?
Oh man, when they're like fighting each other at the end, and like you don't expect the ending, but like I don't know how to explain it because I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it because it's still possible.
If you guys haven't seen it, pause this and go watch it, and then we'll come back because there's spoilers all over the place. So go ahead and spoil away now, Kate.
Oh, like at the end where you don't expect them to like come back and then they're like, oh, it's just so brilliant because I love like really like cheesy fighting scenes that work from horror movies because there's so many and you kind of just have to take the good with the bad. But these two are so iconic, like in themselves, that like I swear everybody starts with Jason or Freddy at some point. It's
You're
like
absolutely
a good
right.
gateway.
To me, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers, that's like the holy trinity of horror. So I get that.
Yes.
And you're talking about Jason and Freddy. These two, this has been in the works. I remember at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, when you see Freddy's glove come up and take Jason's mask down to hell. I had been waiting for this movie since then. So I totally get what you're saying.
I still haven't seen Jason Goes to Hell. There's so many I haven't seen. Like, because
that's one of the ones that it's definitely different. It's not a Friday the 13th movie. It's just, if you watch it, it's a very good movie, but that's the first instance we ever got of Freddy and Jason together on screen at the end of that movie. One kill I want to talk about in Freddy vs. Jason, the douchebag boyfriend, I can't remember his name, but after he sleeps with his girlfriend, he's like, you know, I don't like it when you touch me. Yeah, and then Jason comes in and machetes him and then folds him up in the bed. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, fuck yeah, kill that douchebag. Like, that's one of the kills for me that really got.
I think, like, in horror movies, there's so many dumb, like, characters that you kind of, like, want to root for them, but you also want to see them die, and I think that's the point. They're kind of just, like, there. Mm-hmm. They're throwaways.
That guy was definitely a throwaway because he was such a douche. Now, I want to go scream on you here. We talked about your first horror movie, Kate, but I'm going to go scream on you here. What's your favorite scary movie? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Oh my God, there's been so many. My favorite. Well, I'm kind of biased because I know all the cast from horror stuff, so like tweeting at them for like half a year.
Yeah.
But I think it's honestly Saw because it just kind of sticks out. And plus it's Australian made and not a lot of Australian horror movies get anywhere. Like The Invisible Man was made in Sydney and I had no idea until I saw it. And you wouldn't think it was made in Sydney.
Got the pig mask with me all the time. Saw is definitely one of those ones that stuck with me. So I totally get. I think it's brilliant. Saw is absolutely brilliant. From beginning to end, that first one especially, the budget they had for that. Saw started, a lot of people don't know this, but it started as a short film. They did it as a short film and it just caught on and it got bought out and it became one of the best horror franchises money-wise of all time. So that just shows you guys your short film. If you have that idea, run with it because you never know where it could go.
And I think it started like Blumhouse, like Jason Blum and like Lee. I can't say his last name, so not even going to try, but everybody knows who I mean.
Lee Winnell.
Yeah. So like, and then the Insidious franchise and like The Conjuring and all that, like, because people always talk about A24, but they don't forget like Blumhouse started this like 20 years ago. Like Blumhouse is the OG. And then before that, John Carpenter and stuff like that.
Yep, John Carpenter, Wes Craven and George Romero and Stephen King are the three for me that are up there. So we always end these with the same question. We go back to Freddy vs. Jason. We're gonna rank it on a skull count. 0 being the worst, 5 being the best. We're talking about what this movie means to you, not how great it is, but what it means to you. 0 skulls being the worst, 5 being the best. You can use half and quarter skulls. Kate, what would you rank Freddy vs. Jason 0 to 5 skulls?
Would give it a 3 because it was like my gateway. And it's like the filmmakers did with what they like, because being on a film set, I understand, and I don't want to put down somebody's work because art is so subjective. Like, people might not like my photography, but I don't. It's my viewing world. So, like, I don't get how people go on big spills about why this movie is shit. Like, people put years into it. It takes so much to make. So, like, 3 is, like, a good pass. So, usually, like, unless a movie is really bad, I'll give it a 2. Because I've got Letterboxd and I've just started using it. And I'm like, do I rank this lower or higher? Because I don't want to insult, like, the people that worked on it. Because there's so much crew and cast that put, like, so much time and effort that don't get the recognition they deserve. And but that's just because I've been behind the scenes.
Well, I've always said on here, I will never bash art. You'll never hear me say something sucks or anything like that, because if you're making art, good for you. I'm happy for you. It may not be for me, but good for you. And I completely agree with you. There's no point in going out there. Somebody worked their ass off making this, whether it's music, whether it's movies, whether it's photography, whether it's, paintings. If you're making art, good for you. I'm happy for you. You're expressing that inner self, and I'll never bash it. Sometimes it may not be for me, but I'll never bash it. So, Kate, don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, another reminder, make sure you're clicking the links down here in the bio to show Kate so much love. She deserves it. As always, guys, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.